You know, I remember being on the train on my way home from work, and I had to really figure out. I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, what the hell are you doing? I looked down, I saw my tie, and what the hell? You know when you have one of those moments, and you're like, what am I doing? I was selling real estate.
Were you good at it?
Yeah, I was kicking ass. Man. I loved it, but you know, like, I mean, when the group disbanded, I was in the group for about 10 years, and the group disbanded, and I didn't have confidence in music, like, in the sense where I didn't want to start all over. You know, you spend like 10 years creating something, you know, you kind of just like, you know, fuck it. You know, like, I'm not starting from scratch. So the only thing I can do in that moment, I'm like, look, I had to do something, and I always had a passion for real estate, and, you know, I took my courses, and I can sell anything. I'm like, I'll do it. The idea of starting all over scared the shit out of me, you know, and I had to do some soul searching, you know, like, nah, man, like, I'm like, nah, that's not my, that's not what I'm supposed to be. So I just hit the reset button.
How hard was it to hit the reset button to start again?
It was terrible. Like, it was extremely hard, man. I just had to do it. Like, I didn't want to be a used to be guy. I didn't want to be the guy that used to be known for doing this and have stories as an old man to share with young kids. Nah, you know, I still had an itch for music, you know, and I felt like in that moment, I was just building my story. You know, in 2012, I felt like, you know, my story just began. So it's, I just wanted to write.
What was the low point of the story?
The low point of the story was me sleeping on the subways, being homeless. You know, we were very successful. So I went from living in $1 million condo to that going into foreclosure, which is crazy that I went to real estate. But and then to me being homeless for a bit, man, until I decided to go back home to my mom and start all over. And this is late 2012.
To be legit homeless, I mean, you had a place you could go. You could go home to your mom.
Yeah.
Was it a pride thing?
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't tell anybody I fell off. You know, my thing was always, you know, once I left the house at 19, so I was like, you know, I can't go back, never go back. And you know, that's me in general. I never go back, whether it's a relationship. I'm like, nah, I'm not going back. You know, I always focus on, you know, looking ahead, and you know, in that moment when I had to go back, it was difficult, but it was the best decision I ever made, man.
Do you remember the day that you picked up the violin?
Yeah. It was great, man. I covered Alicia Keys' song Unthinkable, and because I heard it on the radio, and I'm like, wow, this song was speaking to me, like, you know, do the unthinkable, like, just do it. Like, I love this song. And at this point, I never did cover music at all. It was always originals.
Sure.
So I had the opportunity to cover that song, and I did it, man. And it just opened up a whole world of like, wow, like, felt great. Nobody knew who I was. I didn't have any fans. I just put it online. Yeah. And, you know, I started getting a little traction. And when I finally said, all right, when I make the type of guy I am, when I commit to doing shit, I do it.
Right.
You know, and I made the commitment that I'm gonna put myself back into music, and I just went full steam, man. I
mean, I had pictured the movie of your life opening up that violin case for the first time after how long was it?
A year.
A year.
Yeah.
And to, like, you know, almost like you're blowing the dust off it.
Yes,
and
yeah.
I imagine that's just a really strange experience.
It was, man. But it was a great experience. It was a bit nostalgic. It took me back to when I was 8 years old, opening up for the first time. Yeah. And I got that same exciting feeling in my body. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, wow, this is like my new addiction again.
Did you feel nimble?
Yeah, man, I sucked. I sucked. I was extremely rusty, but I just kept playing, man. Like, and this is the thing, like, I wasn't playing for anyone. I had no fans, no one knew me, I had no money. You know, it was just for me, it was just about the music.
From that point on, was there a high point that you like to think about as that was the moment?
Yeah, there's a few of them, there's a lot of them. But that kind of moment for me that was like, oh shit, like this really happened. So I did an album full of covers in 2013 in my basement, my mom's basement. And I got a call 3 years to the day from Billboard telling me that album entered their charts.
The Basement album?
The Basement album. And I was like, oh shit, like I'm doing
picturing the equipment it was recorded on. Like.
Yeah, I did it right in my bedroom. Yeah. Right in my bedroom. Sent You Melodies is a super romantic, it was a mixtape. And it just kind of blew up.
And so that blew up. And then you also played for some interesting people.
I did, man. Like I got to actually do Obama's second inaugural ball.
Did you get to meet him?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I toured with Oprah for a bit. Just cool shit, man.
Yeah.
Like it was. I had a great time. Like, you know, this is before I started doing all the touring on my own.
Yeah.
You know, I had to rebuild. You know, I had to start from ground zero and work my way up. No, but it's kind of crazy to say Oprah is ground zero. No, that was kind of like, you know, the top. But, you know, my goal, it doesn't, look, it was never like my goal to, you know, touring with Oprah was cool, playing Barack's inaugural ball was cool, but, you know, those are events. You know, I wanted to be a guy that sold tickets and had fans come see him at center stage and things like that. And I was so far away from that happening.
Yeah.
So that was my goal. I made that my goal. I'm like, look, I want to be an artist, like a real artist, not just this guy that just, people like, wow, he's a great player. He can wow our crowd. Let's get him at our event. I was tired of being that guy. You know, I'm like, no, I want to be a real artist, not this gimmick that you guys bring to your event. You know, no. I'm like, let me break out of that and, you know, put out my own music. And
sold out show tonight.
Sold out shows tonight. It's been a hell of a ride, man. It's been a great ride.
It doesn't happen overnight, but what impressed me was before you came in here, I was sitting outside the room and all these kids came in with their instruments.
Yeah.
And you're giving back too. It's sort of like you went and gave a talk today, I guess, in Atlanta?
Yeah. Atlanta Symphony Project is the group of kids I went to speak to today. Great program, man. Great guy. You know, it's just something that it was in his heart. He wanted to teach inner city kids in Atlanta how to play instruments, string instruments, and he started this program, and it grew to him now being in over 250 schools, you know, which is amazing. So I spoke to the kids today, they wowed me, and I looked up to them, I said, look, can you guys get on stage with me tonight? And they were just looking at me like I was crazy. They were like, just kidding.
Did they know what song?
I'm gonna let them do their own thing.
Oh, just let them go.
I'm bringing them on stage and say, hey, do your thing. Do the same thing you did for me, just do it in front of 1,000 people.
It was awesome. They were hauling instruments that were bigger than them.
yeah, they're incredible though, man. Like,
oh, that's so cool, man.
Incredible, great players. I wouldn't change shit. I wouldn't change anything. If I change one small detail about my life, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
That's true.
You know, so it's difficult to say, would I change this? No. I made all the stupid mistakes for a reason.
And even sleeping on the subways, you get something out of that.
That was the best mistake of my life.
What'd you get out of it?
So I kept hearing these words in my head when I was sleeping on the subway, and they was get up. And it was from a cop all the time, waking me up.
Get
like,
up,
you
get up.
You gotta get up. You have to get up. You know, like get off the train. And those words stuck with me. Like during the days when I went back home, my mom, and the days I didn't want to wake up and do anything, push myself to do music, and like I got discouraged along the way a lot. I just kept hearing the cop in my head saying, get up. That was my lesson in that moment. Like understanding that it's okay to fall down.
Yeah.
It's okay to fall down as long as you get your ass back up.
When you got your ass back up.
Yeah, man.
I mean, things don't pick up right away, and I bet you got discouraged along the way. Did you almost put it back down?
Hell yeah. Plenty of times.
Yeah.
Plenty of times. Because it's like, oh man, like, because when my brother and I were coming up doing it, there was no social media. We were the only guys doing it. And, you know, we inspired a whole millions of violinists. You know, I mean, from the Lindsey Sterlings. You know, Lindsey, you know, I remember young Lindsey that used to write me on Facebook. My brother and I were on America's Got Talent, after America's Got Talent. Like, I love you guys, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And see where she is now is crazy. You know, it's all these, and there was so many of those. And at this time, you know, Lindsey, she was like it. You know, she was it in the field. And it's so interesting, man. Like with violinists, unfortunately, people feel like there can only be one. You know, it's so weird. It's like, oh no, I can't like you because I like this person. I like this person.
Really?
Dude, it's crazy. It's insane, man. So, and that was prior. So I had to kind of work against that. And there's so many violinists at this point doing cover music, you know? So I'm like, all right, I had to do cover music because that's the easiest way to get people to pay attention to you. But I didn't stay there. I knew that, okay, I'll do cover music for a bit, I'll get some eyeballs, and I'll give them my original music. And slowly but surely, my fans started to gravitate towards my originals. You know, it's doing cover music as an instrumentalist, you get stuck there. And there's so many instrumentalists that had millions of views, millions of followers, etc. Like while I was on my way back up, they're still doing the same thing. They're still doing covers online, and they're not touring, and it's...
They didn't take the deep dive.
No. You get stuck in that pocket, you turn into a karaoke machine.
Yeah.
It's that, I call it the karaoke wheel. Like, you just stay on the wheel of karaoke. Let me cover the hottest... You're as hot as the hottest song that's out.
Right.
There's no longevity in that. It's just cool. You're just the wow factor that they invite to events. So I didn't want to be that guy. So I broke my nose about 6 times. I broke my arm. I broke my neck. I
broke your neck?
Broke my neck playing basketball. Yeah. That's when I was like, it's time to hang it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sheesh, man. What else I know? Oh, man. I broke a lot of shit, man. I broke my jaw.
Were you a good basketball player?
Really good, man.
Yeah?
Really good ball player, man.
What
really
level
good.
did you play at?
College.
You played college? Where did you play?
Division I, Texas State.
You played at Texas State, all right.
Well, I didn't get on the court.
Well,
I got injured in training camp. I cracked my sternum in training camp.
You cracked your sternum in training
Sternum,
camp?
yeah.
I bet that
6'7"
feels
guard
awful.
came down, boom.
You know what, every time you breathe...
It was terrible.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell me I wasn't having a heart attack, dude. Oof. It was terrible, man. But yeah, and I remember, it's so crazy how life works out. When that happened to me, I went back home to heal up. And then that's when I picked up my violin again, because I was supposed to be a basketball player. For me, I'm like, I'm playing ball, this is it.
All right.
So I came back home, picked my violin back up while I was healing. And that's when my brother and I formed the group.
So if you don't break your sternum, you might not be playing here tonight.
That is an absolute fact.
That's crazy.
That's why I don't regret anything.
Right.
Because everything in my life has been like this.
You should call the guy up whose elbow fell on you and be like, I don't know you any royalties, but I do want to thank you.
Him and I still talk.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm like, you almost killed me, man. Yeah.
But he made you live. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that you could have taken it to the next level as well?
Indeed. I got a story. People probably won't believe it. But
Let's hear it.
I was working out for the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is in 2000 and... I want to say 2005.
Yeah.
And it was super impromptu. Like, they didn't call me for anything. I just happened to be in the gym. You know, I still, even after I injured my sternum and everything, and I was with my brother, we were in a group, I still had basketball dreams.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's going to work out for me. I'll do both. All right? So I'm working out I'm in my gym just shooting around, and there was this dude that was about 7 feet, right? And he was on the other side of the gym working out with these 2 old dudes. You know, I'm like, and I hear him like saying, you're a bum, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening, and I'm just shooting on my end. They asked me to come down and can I do some drills with him? I did drills, and I whooped his ass, like really bad.
Yeah.
I felt bad because I'm like, damn, like this is your shot. I don't know who these guys are, but this is your shot. You're blowing it. These dudes were like 80 years old. They were old cats, but they knew basketball really well. He gave me his card, and he's a scout for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He said, look, I want you to come back tomorrow, and I'd like to see you, I'd like to work out with you again tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, I'll be back tomorrow.
Right.
And then we got a call that night saying that Jay Leno wanted us on his show the next day. So I had to fly to LA the next day.
I think that's the right call.
But that's what I'm saying, like, because that moment took my career to where was my brother at that time.
Right.
So everything, all roads continue to lead back to the violin.
All roads lead back to the violin.
Yeah.
You might be playing in the finals or in the conference finals right now, but
I mean, well, with those football numbers they're throwing out for contracts now, oh my goodness.
I want to know who this 7-footer was.
I don't know this guy. He never went to the league, nothing. I didn't see him after that. He was
That's
tall.
because he was a bum.
He was a bum. I hate to say it, man. He's from Harlem, but they were just like, you suck, we're going to drop you back off in Harlem. I'm like, dude, take it easy on him.
Yeah,
like,
easy on the guy.
come on. Like,
He might be 7 feet tall, but he's got feelings.
You got to get up. You have to get up.